Ladies and gentlemen, candidates, members of Phi Kappa Phi, and guests, thank you for viewing the Spring 2021 Virtual Initiation Ceremony. My name is Scott Rush, and it is my privilege this year to serve as the president of the Mississippi State University chapter of the Honor Society of Phi Kappa Phi. On behalf of the entire chapter, I welcome you to these initiation proceedings in which we celebrate scholarship itself and honor those students who have demonstrated excellence as scholars. Our keynote speaker today will be Dr. Daniel Sandweiss. Dan Sandweiss is a professor of anthropology and quaternary and climate studies at the University of Maine, where he also served as dean and associate provost for graduate studies. He was previously a postdoc at the Carnegie Museum of Natural History and director of the Tucumay Archaeological Project in Peru. Serving as president of the Honor Society of Phi Kappa Phi for the 2020-2022 biennium, Sandweiss has been active in the society since 2006 at the local, regional, and national levels. Beginning in chapter leadership at the Society's founding chapter at the University of Maine, Sandweiss has served as the chapter's vice president, president-elect, president, and past president. On a national level, he served as the Northeast Regional Vice President, as Vice President for Chapter Development, and as President-elect. It is my honor to introduce Dr. Daniel Sandweiss.
Hello, I'm Dan Sandweiss, National President of Phi Kappa Phi, where I have the privilege of working with great leaders, including my mentor in this job and friend, your own Missy Hopper. Thank you for inviting me to speak at your Phi Kappa Phi induction ceremony. I'm deeply honored. Please accept my congratulations to each of you for your hard work and sterling accomplishments. To the new inductees, to Phi Kappa Phis who were inducted in years past and continue to support your chapter and the society, and to the officers who volunteer their time and effort to make Phi Kappa Phi work on your campus. Before I launch into the obligatory words of advice and wisdom, I thought I should tell you a bit about myself. I'm an archaeologist. For me, it is a vocation, a calling I first heard as an undergraduate more years ago than I care to admit, and one that I followed through graduate school, postdoc years, and all the way to the University of Maine, where I've been for over 28 years. I've been fortunate to travel a lot, mainly in Latin America, where I do my research, and have had many adventures. Here's a sampling of photos from my expeditions. This is my first one, so I guess you know about how long ago I started doing archaeology in Guatemala City on our way down to the coast to discover new sites. Sometimes we run into problems in the field and we have to solve them, but that's part of being flexible and doing field research. It is often a beautiful place to be. Sometimes your sites are half underwater and you have to find really talented people to help you excavate them. If you're lucky, though, they have no water at all, but instead exist in the desert, like the coast of Peru, where I do most of my work, and where, because of the dryness, things are particularly well preserved. You get the opportunity to work with really interesting colleagues and students. And sometimes you meet people who are even world famous. This is because I met Tor Heyerdahl, who was on the far right, and I had the opportunity to hang out with Fidel Castro in 1993, and I'll say a little bit more about that later on. If you meet roadblocks, you simply have to overcome them. However, I have to admit that I was a late bloomer as far as Phi Kappa Phi is concerned. I attended universities that did not have active chapters, and as an undergraduate, I was only inducted into a far less diverse society, they who shall not be named. Fortunately for me, I ended up at the University of Maine, where Phi Kappa Phi was founded in 1897. 16 years ago, I began a stint as graduate dean, and my colleagues took pity on me as an honor society orphan. They inducted me into Phi Kappa Phi in 2006. A few years later, I served as our chapter's president, then became the Northeast Regional Vice President for the Society, as well as a member of the Board of Directors. By default, because it turned out that the other candidate for that position didn't show up, I sent a video and thought there's no way I'd end up having to do the job. But since the other person wasn't even there, even by video, well, they had nobody else to vote for, so it was me. And I learned how much I loved serving Phi Kappa Phi. It has a great motto, which you know, let the love of learning rule humanity, and to which I would add, to put an old political slogan to better use, now more than ever. And now for the advice. We've heard a lot over the last decade about the economically privileged 1%. If it is your goal in life to join that 1%, I wish you every success and sincerely hope that your MSU education gets you there. Today, though, I want to talk to you about life in the 10%, the intellectual top 10%. If you are a past or current inductee in Phi Kappa Phi, you are a certified member of that elite group of smart people. As an honorary inductee in Phi Kappa Phi, I have empowered myself to give you some advice for life in the smart lane, illustrated from personal experience. 1. Carpe diem. Since you're smart people, you know that this phrase does not mean eat a trash fish daily, but rather seize the day. Keep in mind that 10% is still a really large number of people. The population of the United States today is over 310 million, so 10% is over 31 million. You have competition. Not all of them, however, have been certified by Phi Kappa Phi, so you have that advantage. Still, as Louis Pasteur famously said, fortune favors the prepared mind. Be ready to seize the day, to take advantage of opportunities that arise. I would not be here today were it not for a combination of lucky coincidence and the ability to make the most of opportunity. It worked for me. I'll tell you a little bit about how that went. In 1988, as a graduate student, I was in Peru doing research, and I happened to run into this gentleman on the left at a hotel in Peru, waiting in line. I heard his name. It was Thor Heyerdahl, who was a very famous Norwegian explorer. I had read his books when I was in high school. I knew who he was, and so I introduced myself. I told him that I was an archaeologist, and he said, "Oh, you do archaeology on the coast of Peru? We need to talk. Meet me in the bar at 4:00. So we met and we talked for 4 hours. At the end of the 4 hours, he asked me if I wanted to work on the project he was about to start at a large site in Peru near this hotel called Tucumay, which you see in the slide here. I said, yes, of course. Didn't really think he was serious, but ended up being paid by Timex Corporation to work with him there for 3 years. It was a wonderful experience, and had I not done it, I doubt I would have gotten anywhere nearly as far in my career as I've managed to get. We got a book out of this, which we co-wrote with our Peruvian colleague, and I even got to go to Cuba and hang out with Fidel Castro, as I mentioned earlier. 2, beware the better that is the enemy of the good. This is a variation on something the French philosopher Voltaire published in 1772, but reflecting earlier versions. It is natural for smart people like you to want to get everything just right, to keep working until you dot every I and J and cross every T, or Z as well if you write like a European. All right, that might be a dated reference. How many of you still write anything by hand? Regardless, there is a time for obsessive attention to detail, but there is also a time to fish or cut bait, to continue the ichthyological illusions. Whatever you're doing, there comes a time when it is better to finish up and move on. I began graduate school in 1979. By 1985, I had finished my fieldwork and was writing my dissertation. By the time we got to 1988, my dad started quoting his version of Voltaire, the one you see here, almost every time we spoke. Fortunately, it took a while to sink in, or I would not have met Thor Heyerdahl. But by 1989, I did actually finish, and I would not be here now if I hadn't. Eventually, I even published my dissertation, which is more fishy business. Number 3, push the envelope and think outside the box. Employ diversity and work interdisciplinarily. There is no problem that isn't better solved by working with colleagues who bring different knowledge, skills, and ways of thinking to the issue. It's also way more fun. Here are some of my teams in Peru, and I hope you can see that we do have a good time. I want to point out in this slide that the fellow on the right, Noel March, is a UMaine Phi Kappa Phi inductee, and he was the U.S. Marshal for the District of Maine for 8 years, appointed by Professor Obama, and he is now a professor at President Obama, and he is now a professor at his sister campus. Remember that Phi Kappa Phi is the largest, most prestigious all-discipline honor society in the United States. Whatever you want to do, you can almost certainly find great colleagues and companions to help you do it among the diverse ranks of Phi Kappa Phi initiates. 4, avoid the arrogance of intelligence. You know you are the 10%, but try not to let that show. You have to live with the other 90% who tend to have their own strengths and talents. Be open. Listen to others regardless of their percentile. Successful leaders know that it doesn't matter where a good idea comes from. If you accept those good ideas, you will do better and you will receive more credit. Do not alienate others by suggesting through word or action that you are superior. Don't, for instance, give talks that use your life to exemplify good advice. 5, the bar beer principle. Seek intellectual stimulation wherever you find it. Some years ago, I heard a keynote lecture in Milwaukee, a good beer city, by a wise senior archaeologist. She told us that she had discovered, through extensive participant observation, that most really good ideas in archaeology originate in conversations over beer in bars. 7 years ago, I heard a lecture at our own Climate Change Institute by 2 young scientists who had recently received their doctorates from us. They had been working together in the high Andes for almost a decade, and they made a series of amazing discoveries, including the oldest high-altitude site in the world, the story covered by Reuters, NBC News, and scores of other media outlets. They did all this by working across disciplines. One is an archaeologist, the other a geologist. They began their talk by explaining that the idea for their work came from a conversation years ago over beer in the Star Club in the University Inn and Suites in Orono, where UMaine is located. The Star Club is not the most propitious of intellectual centers or the most popular of hangouts. They thought they might have been the only people ever to have gone there, but it worked for them. I believe that the bar beer principle holds for all fields of endeavor and probably for other beverages as well. Personally, I prefer wine to beer. Of course, if you're under 21, I'm only talking about Coke or Pepsi or maybe Dr. Pepper. The point is much the same as my opening gambit. Seize the fish, the day. So, welcome to the 10%. Live life in the smart lane, but be smart about it. Listen, learn, act wisely, but never arrogantly. Wear your Phi Kappa Phi pin with pride. We are certainly proud of you, and we look forward to your future accomplishments. Stay well, and I hope to meet you in person someday. Bye now.
Thank you, Dr. Sandweiss. Our candidates have been selected on the basis of superior scholarship and good character. The motto of the Honor Society of Phi Kappa Phi is, "Let the love of learning rule mankind." Being committed to an observance of this motto, the Society attempts to maintain unsurpassed standards. Moreover, Phi Kappa Phi, as a campus-wide honorary society, receives its members from all branches of endeavor recognized in the Academy. Today, we will initiate students from agriculture and life sciences, architecture, art and design, arts and sciences, business, accountancy, education, engineering, forest resources, and veterinary medicine. Phi Kappa Phi thus seeks to recognize and reward academic excellence everywhere that it can be identified. The bylaws of Mississippi State University chapter of Phi Kappa Phi, operating within the framework of the bylaws of the national organization, specify certain conditions in electing students to membership. These conditions are as follows. First and above all, good character. Second, for seniors, a quality point average in the top 10% of the senior class in the institution as a whole. Third, for juniors, a quality point average in the top 7.5% of the junior class in the institution as a whole. Fourth, only those graduate students who rank scholastically in the upper 10% of all graduate and professional students in the institution are admitted. As you can see, admission into Phi Kappa Phi is not easily achieved. All the candidates have been chosen because they meet these high standards for membership. I will now introduce Dr. Jason Keith, Dean of the Bagley College of Engineering and Treasurer for our chapter, for the announcement of the initiates.
Thank you, Dr. Rush. I'm excited to announce this semester's inductees into the Honor Society of Phi Kappa Phi. From the Adkerson School of Accountancy, Emily Grace Baker, William Coleman Baumhauer Jr., Warren Kennedy Guest, Elizabeth Reese Meredith, Anna Grace Ragland, Madeline Elizabeth Ream, Seth Vincent Sloan, Britton C. Steele, Caroline Jennings Swindoll, John Coleman Tyler. From the James Worth Bagley College of Engineering, Margaret Ann Bogan, Tara Nicole Broom, Anna Grace Dickerson, Whitney Claire Duncan, Mary Michael Evans, Fallon Michelle Farber, Stephen Andrew Fazio, Ashley Elizabeth Griffey, Michaela Marie Grubb, Veronica D. Hill, Dam Kim, Quinlan Walter Curtis, Braden Thomas LeBarenz, Brianna Allen Lambert, Haley Brianne Land, Caitlin Delaney Luke, Jacob Lane Moore, Luke Kenneth Overton, Andrew Philip Pacharis, Juleka Hussein Ranta, Emma G. Rich, Lawson W. Shaw, Jason Shahan, Hutton Davis Smith, Michaela Faith Smith, Emily Ann Sousa, Austin Reed Thompson, David Scott Tyndall. From the College of Agriculture and Life Sciences, Ethan Andrew Claunch, Sally Paige Humphreys, Ashlyn Ann Kiker, Sarah Blaylock Matheson, Abby Noel McCrory, Reagan Paige McDevitt, Omolayo Joshua Oloruna, Sarah Hams Peterson, Caitlin Nicole Sett, Elijah Jeffrey Smart, Sydney Marie Stockwell, Michelle Trejo Acevedo. From the College of Architecture, Art, and Design, Drennan Graham Allen, Cody Cooper Perkins. From the College of Arts and Sciences, April Diane Bonner, Elise Catherine Bullock, Jason David Corey, Alyssa Brianne Krigler, Daniel James Dye, Anna Miller Fracchia, Audra Fern Gines, Ariel Elizabeth Gunzelman, Philip Michael Hayhurst, Jessica McLaurin Kemp, Cassidy Lynn Ketchum, Joshua Adam Kittle, Clark Robinson Lerner, Mary Elizabeth McCarley, Michael McCall, William Glenn McInnes, Aswathi N. Rai, Jennifer Lee Scott, Loris Catherine Sharp, Abigail Elizabeth Stein, Callie Margaret Taylor, Anna Brazil Ty, Catherine Beatrice Walters. From the College of Business, Anna Julia Balsley, Sarah Elizabeth Bedenbaugh, Anika M. Chess, Mackenzie Page Clark, John Patrick Keeler, Zachary Alexander Kennard, Brian Thomas Kilpstein, Monet Isabella Leckert, Kendall Delaney Long, Zoe Elizabeth Maddox, Megan Christine Weaver, Isabel Catherine White. From the College of Education, Kelly Elizabeth Maples, Marilyn Brocht Anglin, Juan Felipe Arzola, Elizabeth Strickland Bassi, Andrea Glynn Berryhill, Janicia Brooks, Kamika Linnell Broom, Crystal Justina Burton, Whitley Shanice Carradini, Araceli M. Figueroa, Alana Christine Hauer, Lauren Elizabeth James, Mary Kinsley Jennings, Jessica Nicole Leesburg, Avery Claire Littleton, Zoe Elizabeth Anna Nunn, Rubetta Lilia Redmond, Mary Catherine Sanders, Kate Elizabeth Sawaya, Christine Elise Schroeder, Grace Anna Troutman, Alexis K. Turnipseed, Alexis Joanna White, Phyllis Marie Eucatonis. From the College of Forest Resources, Nicole Allison Brewer, Abby Lawrence Seal, Wentao Song. From the Mississippi State Faculty, Dr. Charles Freeman. Mr. President, all the candidates have now been presented.
Thank you, Dr. Keith, and congratulations to all of our initiates. The Honor Society of Phi Kappa Phi has a long and distinguished history. In 1897, 10 seniors at the University of Maine, envisioning a society whose membership would be open to superior students regardless of their major, organized the Lambda Sigma Eta Society. In 1900, the presidents of the University of Maine, Pennsylvania State College, and the University of Tennessee pledged their support to the Lambda Sigma Eta Society. At the same time, it was renamed Phi Kappa Phi based on the initial letters of the three classical Greek words forming the society's adopted motto, Philosophia Kratiato Photon, which translates to let the love of learning rule mankind. Currently, there are 339 chapters of Phi Kappa Phi scattered across all the world, from Maine to Hawaii and the Philippines, and from Alaska to Puerto Rico. Thus, membership in Phi Kappa Phi spans not only the academy, but also much of the globe. During the 1996-97 academic year, we celebrate the 100th anniversary of the founding of Phi Kappa Phi, and we are now in the second century of its recognition and of service to learning. I might add that MSU chapter is in its 64th year of membership. As part of the ceremony, I will explain the symbolism of the official emblem of the Honor Society. The badge of the society is a globe against the background of the sun, whose rays radiate in a number of symmetrical and equal concentrations. These signify equivalence among the various branches of learning and represent the dissemination of truth as light. Encircling the globe is a band containing the Greek letters Phi Kappa Phi, symbolizing a fraternal bond that girds the earth and binds the lovers of wisdom in a common purpose. The seal of the society has the badge at its center. This, in turn, is surrounded by a crenulated line that represents the walls of ancient Troy and symbolizes the technological aspects of the ancient Greek culture reflected by the society. In the space between this line and the periphery of the seal appear 3 stars just above the badge, one for each of the 3 original chapters of Phi Kappa Phi. Just below the badge is the phrase, founded 1897. The ribbon of the society is a meander pattern, which was common in ancient Greek art, and thus symbolizes the classical features of the Society of Phi Kappa Phi. In recognition of your academic accomplishments and scholarship, each of you initiated as part of this virtual ceremony will receive a certificate of permanent membership, an honor cord, and a Phi Kappa Phi emblem. Your payment of the initiation fees entitles you to active membership for this first year, during which you shall have such privileges as are described in the Society's bylaws, and will receive 4 issues of the National Forum plus 6 issues of the Society's newsletter. As long as you continue as active members in Phi Kappa Phi, you shall continue to enjoy these privileges and receive these publications. In addition to the publications, membership in Phi Kappa Phi provides you with benefits such as academic recognition, career assistance, awards and scholarships, partner discounts and services. Beyond the first year, we urge you to make the most of your membership by remaining active through the payment of nominal annual dues and by maintaining affiliation in a chapter of Phi Kappa Phi. It is asked that you strive to keep contact by informing your chapter and the national office of any change in your address and by contributing funds and services whenever possible. We also call to your attention that members have the option to become active for life through a one-time payment of dues. Your Mississippi State chapter holds business meetings and events each semester. It is our hope that you become active through these events. You will find your membership to be both a means of personal fulfillment and a way of helping to advance the Society's mission and goals. By virtue of your scholarship, supported by good character, and by virtue of what you have achieved, a combination of qualities that led to your election by this chapter of the Society, it is now my privilege to declare you to be members in good standing in the Honor Society of Phi Kappa Phi. May you always continue to merit this high honor, never flagging and never complacent, ever seeking the realization of the Society's motto, "Let the love of learning rule mankind." I congratulate you.